Hi, I'm Mac McCarthy, and I help people with their breakups. And today, we do have a story, but not right now. I want to fix my ex. Why can't A fix my ex? Why can't I fix my ex? It looks like I have a typo already. Why can't I fix my ex? And if you'd like help with your own breakup right now, go to ratemac.com, WRITEMAC. Send your story in, and I could give you my take in a private video response or a live stream just like this. Or if you'd like to take it a step further, I do live coaching sessions on FaceTime or Skype. Those are guaranteed to help you move forward, fully unpack the situation. If not, you do have the option of a refund. Jamal, what's up, G Money? How are you? Thanks for the thumbs up. Thanks for joining. It's been a while, G Money, but it's always a pleasure. So today's going to be kind of an interesting topic, and I think it's come up before, and it always comes up in breakups, is I want to fix my ex. Why can't I fix my ex? Two different questions, really, right? Or two different scenarios. If you like this video, throw me a like. If you don't like it, that's fine. If you want to subscribe, hit the red button. I think you know that already. Hit the bell if you want notifications and you want to hit up these live streams, go for it. So basically today, I do have a story I'll get to in a little bit, maybe 10 minutes in, but let's unpack this a bit. I want to fix my ex. Short answer, fix yourself first. We all need things or want things to be fixed about ourselves. We are all a work in progress. Would you agree? There's times in our lives where everything seems really good, but if we look at it and we look in the mirror and we take an assessment, we sometimes find like, oh, I could improve in this area or that area. So if you find yourself in a moment where you're going, God, I wish my ex would be this or that, really ask yourself, who are you and where are you at right now? Where are you at right now? And then ask yourself, do you really think that your ex believes they have a problem? For example, let's unpack something different today. It doesn't come up a lot in coaching stories that I've come across and breakups I've come across, but I've witnessed it with friends or family, extended colleagues, things like that. One breakup that happens and one issue that tries to get fixed a lot is money. And one partner is overspending frivolously in a frivolous fashion, where they have the credit cards maxed out. They haven't told their partner. They're spending money. They're starting businesses that are going on a dead end. And you think to yourself, like, when's it going to end? And a lot of times, these are situations where people have a bit of money when they're frivolous like this. And so they somehow think that there's, it's never ending. And one partner just keeps telling the other partner, hey, quit running up the fucking credit cards. Hey, we're going to run out of money. Hey, this business that you just ran into the ground and lost XYZ dollars, I don't think it's a good idea for us to start another business or buy another house, so on and so on and so on. And one partner just keeps complaining about what the other partner doesn't do or doesn't get or isn't changing. The reality is, the only way someone gets fixed or allows someone to help them fix their lives is to think or believe that they truly do have a problem. So if someone's overspending and they somehow just think, it's not even that big a deal because we have the money, or it's not even that big a deal because I like this stuff, they somehow have it in their head that it's not a problem. Why would they fix something that's not broken in their mind? You see? And so the one that comes up a lot is alcoholism or drug addicts, right? Because the problem seems to be crystal clear, in the sense that if you quit drinking, everything would be okay. If you quit the drugs, everything would be okay. And in society, we have these rehabs and situations. But ask yourself this: if you've ever witnessed an alcoholic or a drug addict, and if your family's big enough, you at least have one or two, right? And I'm talking about extended family. When does someone make an effort to, quote unquote, fix this problem or get better or quit drinking or quit crack? right? When do they do it? Usually when they hit bottom, usually when there is a consequence that directly hurts them. Think about that for a minute. If someone has a bad habit or they're doing bad, but there's no consequences, why would they stop? Why would they stop? Hence the reason when someone goes, well, I'm going to break up with you or else. If you don't quit drinking, if you don't quit spending money, if you don't quit maxing out the credit cards, I'm going to break up with you. Now that's kneecap theory in my head. That's gun to the head type negotiations in a breakup and a fight. You can do that, but sometimes it's still not enough because the partner goes, yeah, you're not really going to break up with me because I maxed out the credit card. Or the partner goes, well, honey, and they know which buttons to push. They know which way to say sorry, and they know what gets you to be okay with it. It could be intimacy, if it's the woman for the man. That could be money. It could be a lot of different things. But there is a reaction where they know that they can get the partner okay with them. This will continue on and on and on. Even if you could fix an ex, you are the last person they want it from. Yeah, I think what happens is when people break up, G-Money, they fixate on the fact that this person had a problem, and the reason why they broke up is the person couldn't fix the problem. And so when you break up, you're validating the breakup, and you're coming across the problems, and you think to yourself, well, if they did this, then we'd be fine. But the reality is, you broke up because you guys had different morals and values and different character issues a lot of times. Now, sometimes it's circumstances like LDRs, long distance relationships, or circumstances and timing. But the idea that you can fix your ex, the worst part of this is when you actually believe that you're smarter than them, that you somehow have a background in XYZ and they don't really know about XYZ. And so you're going to somehow bring them to the light. And here's the thing about adult human beings, not all, but a good majority that have some sort of confidence, some sort of independence. They don't like to be told what to do, even if it's the right thing to do. I was just at a friend's dinner party last night, and there's only like 6 or 7 of us. So I don't know if that even applies as a dinner party or a get together. And this friend of mine likes to play guitar and do songs, right? And he wants everyone to sing. He always wants everyone to sing. I'm not a very good singer. I'm not really into it, but I'll jump in. And I'll sing a song here or there. And this guy that was there goes, I don't sing. And my friend keeps going, we're going to get you to sing. We're going to get you to sing. And finally I stopped my friend. I said, hey, look, the more you ask him, the more he's going to say no. And he's like, exactly. If he's going to sing, it's going to be on his own, and it's going to be his own decision. The more you ask him, or the more you try to bait him into doing it, the more certain personality types don't like being pushed. And so if you're going to try to fix someone or help someone, you have to learn how they communicate. A good book to look at is Influence by, I think his name's James Cialdini. He has 2 versions of this book. And that's a good book to look at, but you need to learn how people communicate, because individuals communicate differently. This guy is a high up at his job. He doesn't take orders, he gives them. And so the minute someone starts giving him orders, it's kind of, it's like, no, you're not going to tell me what to do or suggest anything to me. And so that's a big reason why when you're in adult relationships, you know, oh, you could do this, you could do that. Just for the fact that you're telling them what to do or what they're doing wrong, some people could just shut you out just for that reason alone. Just for that reason alone. The other thing about fixing someone or fixing someone's problem, you have to think to yourself, how does this relate to my own problems in my own life? Is it making me feel better that this person has a problem that they're not fixing, so then I don't have to address my own issues? Right? That's kind of deep, isn't it? Did you ever think about that? You stop because you know within yourself that it's unhealthy. Leandra Seacole, nice to meet you. I haven't seen you on the live stream before. Let me know if you have any questions. The way these live streams are, if you have a question about your relationship, you can certainly chime in. It's a form of denial. It's nothing wrong with me. My ex just is wounded bird that needs help. Nice one, G Money. Wounded bird analogy. I like it. It's implying they can't make their own decisions as if they haven't thought through it and planned it out. Well, sometimes the best advice or the best way to give advice is to package it in a way that it's the other person's own idea. A lot of times when I do live coaching sessions, I'm listening, I'm asking questions, I'm unpacking things with you, but I don't always get to a point where I'm like, well, do this, do that, do this. I, a lot of times, want to present scenarios or go, all right, well, let's unpack it if everything went right. All right, if everything went wrong, how would this look? Let's go down different paths and different trails and explore them, and then you decide what you really want to do. Now, that's a good way for someone to look at a situation and feel responsible and accountable for where they're headed, rather than, hey, what should I write? What should I do exactly so it works? What do you want to do? What's the outcome you want? What's up, Rob? 3 years down, 3 YS down. Hey, coach, I'm supposed to meet my ex for a third date next week. I really don't want to waste my time anymore. How do I make sure she's not going out with me to be friends? I don't know. That's a good question. First of all, does she consider it a date, or do you just consider it a date? A date to me means we're not friends. Correct me if I'm wrong. So how did the first 2 dates go would be my first question. Obviously, you felt like it was more friends than not friends. What was the energy like? Did you feel awkward? Did you feel uncomfortable? Did the conversation go well? Did you feel like she couldn't stop looking at you? The time that I've reignited something with an ex that was a long distance relationship, when we ended up hanging out again, it had been, I don't know, 3 or 4 months, and the distance really was the problem, but we broke up. And I saw her again. She was like, look, we're just going to be friends when I see you. I didn't say like, oh yeah, we're friends. I'm like, yeah, okay. I didn't deny it. I accepted it or whatever. And then when she actually picked me up at the airport, immediately I knew she still had feelings by the way she looked at me, by the glee, I guess, in the eyes. And we weren't together right away, but you could just feel that that was the problem. First date went really well. It's a very positive vibe. I tried to make non-sexual contact and wasn't denied, nor she made any comments. I stopped contact. She called to go out for dinner. She called you? Well, then she's interested, right? What happened in the breakup, and is it something that can be fixed or addressed, or has it already been fixed or addressed would be the next question, 3 Ys down. Rob Dog, hope you're good, Chief. I always use the word chief too. I imagine since intimacy has already been established with an ex, it shouldn't take long to escalate to sexy time. Yeah, 3 Ys down. I would say that the idea that you're kind of scared to get to that point, I would say that you don't want to necessarily push it, but if the moment calls for it, you're both consenting adults. Don't shy away from it, because that's going to be the finish line back in. But the question would be, is whatever problem or problems that were a problem when you broke up, are they fixed? That's the thing about long distance. If it's the distance and you could move there or they can move here, or you can make more of an effort to be there every 3 weeks or every 2 weeks, well, then that problem can be fixed and maybe you can get a relationship back together. Like I said, drug and alcoholism. Can the person quit? These are things that can be fixed, but the individuals have to somehow address them directly. All right, I got a story I'm going to share that was sent in. I was waiting for about the 15-minute mark here. Let's see here. Just had a former client. Well, I don't know if they're former because People tend to come back to me like, hey, brother, hope all is well in this crazy time. Wanted to reach out and express gratitude for everything you helped me with during that breakup. Currently in the best relationship I've ever had with the most amazing chick. Refreshing to hear you. Keep at it, brother. God bless. This is the kind of stuff that makes my job great. Okay, let's see here. Let me pull this up. Okay. Hi, my name is, I don't share names. I was with my partner for 5 years. Okay. He is 43 and I'm 39. When I was 21, I dated and married a textbook narcissist. He was abusive and I left him at age 28. Well, good for you for recognizing that and moving on and moving forward with your life. 6 years later, I started dating my new partner. He was aware about my past. So in a way, it was a healing relationship for me. Okay. So I would just ask, why would you characterize it as a healing relationship? My new partner was gentle, kind, understanding, patient, and consistent when I projected my trauma, trust issues, and other triggers. So 6 years later, you still were projecting your trauma and you were like, okay. However, over time, I found myself trying to fix or change, hence the reason why I came up with a topic today for the live stream. I found myself trying to fix or change my new partner to get him up to my level for career and income wise. So let's just think about that for a minute, because that's probably a big issue for a lot of people in fixing. If someone's not up to your level career wise or income wise, it's something that they can improve on. The question is, do they value moving up the income wise? Do they really want that for themselves? If they don't, you will push them away. I wasn't also getting my emotional needs met in the relationship. I found myself seeking, begging for compliments or appreciation. So you have a gentle, kind, understanding, patient, consistent person, but they don't compliment you enough. I would ask you, are you being fair or are you being dramatic? Now, that's not an accusation. That's not me saying you're being dramatic, but were you being fair? Do your friends and family members or colleagues say that you can be needy sometimes? That's a question I would ask you. If not, someone that's kind, understanding, and gentle, I'd have trouble believing that they would never compliment you. I went a bit overboard with giving him compliments and affection. In my head, I thought I was teaching or showing him how to love me back. So this is where it gets really interesting. The definition of love for you is to be affectionate and complimentary. The definition for him might be being kind and understanding doesn't necessarily mean throwing out compliments all the time or giving you hugs and kisses. And so the idea that you're somehow teaching him what love is a bit ridiculous, because everyone has their own definition of what love is. And if he wants to meet you halfway on that and make more of an effort, fine. Specifically, what are you looking for compliments in would be my question. Your looks, your job, what areas do you need compliments? I don't hear this very often that I hear a lack of appreciation, but a lack of compliments. He never once complained that he was unhappy. She wrote that in capitals. Every time we argued about small things or I was stressed, he was supportive. So it seems to me that he's a supportive individual. Of course, I apologize for my behaviors. I even suggested to go back to counseling one time, and he told me that he didn't think I needed to go for this one trust issue. I had over another female. He gave a ride to school a few times and didn't let me know. You're going to go to counseling over that issue. That I would agree with him that's something you should work out on your own. And if you trust him and he gives another female a ride to school, and once you say you have a problem with it, he says, hey, look, I won't do it again, then it shouldn't be a problem. So I let it go, even though I felt ashamed about my triggers. Shame is a big word. So fast forward, out of nowhere, he came up to me before I was 1 month away graduating from his course. So he's your teacher. Interesting. And told me he was unhappy and wanted to break up. It was a shock to me because I didn't see it coming. These are sometimes the worst breakups. It's one of those things. A shocking breakup can stay with you for a long, long time. And so you need to get out in front of this. And I would highly recommend doing a live coaching session with myself. I begged and pleaded that I would go back to counseling and we could change things. Okay, so I don't think he's conveying that he wants you to go to counseling. He's saying that he's unhappy. He didn't say, I'd like you to go to counseling. This is something that you somehow feel is going to change things or help the relationship. I don't think it's an avenue that he's looking for you to do. We could change things, but he wouldn't have it. He made me feel powerless. No, you made yourself feel powerless. Okay. Don't give him that much power. Okay. Your idea that, oh, if I go to counseling, everything will be okay. He doesn't share that. He's maybe not unhappy about the thing that you're assuming is the problem. Like, I had no choice but to accept the breakup. Well, you know what? When there's a breakup presented with you, you do have a right to ask questions. And if he says, I'm unhappy, you could say, can you tell me specifically what you're unhappy about? And he goes, I just don't want to talk about it. I just want to move forward and move on. Then you have, what other choices do you have when someone wants to break up with you? Let's think about it in this way. Let's say someone fires you from your job. You do have the right to ask for an explanation of why. I mean, but once you get the why, or once they give you the details, what other avenue do you have but to accept it? Begging, pleading, crying, cursing, yelling. Yeah, those are something you can do that are within your power, but they're not going to make it better. They're going to make it worse. Correct me if I'm wrong. We went our own ways 4 months ago. I have done counseling and therapy. Can't afford it anymore. Well, again, counseling and therapy might not fix the problem that was a problem for him. Does that make sense? I mean, specifically, if he's just, sometimes people after 5 years can just be unhappy. It's just not working for them. And it's not necessarily because you are wounded or you did something wrong. It's just run its course and it's gotten stale, mediocre, or boring, or the kind of person that you are and he is changing and he doesn't like that change. But the idea that counseling really works to get to get the breakup back or to get the ex back isn't necessarily correct. I have read self-help books and I acknowledge people don't change, or if they do, it takes time to heal internally. So my question is, how do I forgive myself? Really good question, actually. Okay, so what are you specifically blaming yourself for? What are you feeling guilty about? And what are you not forgiving yourself for specifically? Would be my first question. I'm so confused and feel stupid thinking I can fix and change someone. Well, first and foremost, do you have any issues with yourself that you want to fix? Would be my first question. And are you working on those currently? Clearly, both my partner and I have things to work on. Here's where your dilemma is. He broke up with you because he's unhappy. I haven't heard anything of the sort of him feeling like he needs things to work on. And if you somehow think he does, and you're pushing that down his throat, it's going to push him away further and further. Our self-esteem, self-worth. Does he believe he has low self-esteem? Does he believe he has low self-worth? She writes, I have things to work on. Our self-esteem, self-worth, insecurities, and emotional maturity. Do you recommend any books on forgiveness, insecurities, and healing from trauma? Thanks, Mac, for taking the time to read my story. So that was a long story a bit. Yeah, it sounds like you're grouping in the idea that he's got problems that he needs to work on with yourself. He basically told you he was unhappy and he'd been 5 years. I haven't gotten any more reasons through that story of why he broke up with you. I'd have to ask you more questions in a live coaching session and kind of dig a little bit. But you need to get crystal clear on what you want moving forward. And the fact that what did him being unhappy really come from was something that I would want to ask, right? This idea that was it deeper than just unhappiness? Where was the unhappiness coming from? Because unhappy is a pretty broad way to break up with someone. What were they unhappy about would be my big question. First dates really went well. It's a very positive vibe. Okay, 2 weeks later. Imagine since intimacy has already been established with an ex, it shouldn't take long to escalate to sexy time. Story time and word. I have a week to be mindful of what I really want to. Invest in your partner while you have them instead of trying to fix an ex. One thing that I'd really like to add is Really understand that no partner is necessarily going to be perfect, especially over time. I think that the honeymoon phase, 6 months, whether that's 2 years or 3 years for some people. Some people say they had a honeymoon phase for 7 years. I just had a client like that, and they broke up. Um, you're gonna have to accept some things you don't like about someone's personality or character. Okay. And you got to figure out if you're going to be able to accept those. The highest level of love is unconditional love, right? And this is what we have for family members. Correct me if I'm wrong. And when we get with a partner, we seem more critical of what we don't like and what we do want. But you have to get really, really clear on the things that you can live with, that you can't accept, right? That's oh well, they're gonna be this way, and that's okay. They're kind of, in the morning they can be a bit cranky, so I just stay out of her way. Different things you have to accept to be in a long-term relationship. But you always want to come back to is this person helping me grow? And overall, am I happy to be with them? Imagine, since intimacy has already story time, if a girl talks about triggers all the time, I'm running the other way, it would be walking through a minefield. Good. G Money, I get what your point is. The amount of power people are willing to surrender in their own lives is amazing. Just look at current events. The amount of power people are willing to surrender in their own lives, that's an understatement. Self-admission of triggers can be an indicator of future problems. I mean, specifically, I'd want to know what the triggers are, and what's it all about. I find it interesting though when someone goes, "Oh, I'll go to therapy and it'll be all fine." Like, because you're willing to go to a counselor or therapy doesn't mean the partner's going to go, "Okay, that'll fix the problem," or that you're suggesting that they have problems that they need to work on. I found that some girls, when dating, look for guys to fix as a kind of subconscious way of finding validation in their own worth. Sure. What I would add is people that are high achievers or managers or bosses or CEOs or entrepreneurs where they constantly delegate. They tend to be very critical of partners, critical of partners, and they tend to find ways to quote unquote fix them. Now, if an individual is insecure or lacking in confidence, some individuals like someone to give them constant advice and tell them what they can and cannot do. But you have to ask yourself, does the person want to fix those problems or think that they are problems? I remember I had a client before that was extremely wealthy, had a great job, had a house, had a lot going for him, was in a great shape. I think he was a part-time personal trainer of some sort, and came out of nowhere, and the girl broke up with him, and he was absolutely shocked that she would leave him. But the woman gave very specific reasons. Okay. And they were only dating for like 4 or 5 months. And one of them was he smoked cigars. I think he had 3 or 4 dogs that he kept in the house. I don't remember the other reasons, but those 2 reasons alone, she's like, I can't. I can't. Like, in other words, like, those were things she brought up, and he was absolutely appalled and pissed off and in disbelief. And I said, hey, look, those are things that she's saying as an individual that you kind of are like, oh, no big deal. She's not going to ask you to quit them because it seems to be a part of your lifestyle that she just can't deal with, and it's going to bother her. And I actually applaud her for telling you those things up front, because long term, if she let that go, a year down the road, 2 years down the road, she'd be pressuring you to quit cigars and maybe get rid of 2 of your dogs. Now, would you be willing to do that? Especially the dog thing, right? I mean, pets are a big deal to people. And so it's probably second to kids. If someone doesn't like your dogs and they want to get rid of them, I had another client where him and his long-term girlfriend that lived together for a long time, they had 2 Labradoodles, And I thought he liked the dogs. He goes, "Look, I take care of them, but I don't really like dogs. I don't like, he's like, and I just told my girlfriend recently, like, look, they're getting older now. Do you want to just put them down?" And they weren't very sick. And he's like, his wife, or I mean, his girlfriend had a fit. I was like, "Are you serious?" And he goes, "Well, I was half joking, but, or we could, donate them to, someone." I go, "But you've had those dogs for 9 years now." He goes, "He's just a hassle." I mean, it's amazing how different people see the world. And you have to ask yourself, if you're in a relationship, this is the golden question at the 30-minute mark. So please listen. You got 12 on deck, 4 likes. Thanks for listening. Answer this question to 12 people on deck, please. Anyone else in the comments? It's very important. If you're in a relationship and you want someone to fix some things about themselves, if they don't fix those things, is it a deal breaker for you? Can you see yourself being with them for the next 3, 4, 5 years doing the same things that they're doing now? Could you deal with that? Another question. Have you ever broke up with someone just because you know they're not going to change? I've seen some girls continually go for broken guys time after time, trying to fix them initially. And then after the breakup, and then repeating this process with another guy. A lot of times, Rob, that's from witnessing that when you're with your parents, right? I find this major flaw in some girls' mindset. It's almost like they're predisposed to fall when initiating this sort of involvement with the broken guys. Well, some people, this sounds really strange to some out there, but some people love drama in a relationship. There's a lot of women out there that seek out drama in a relationship because it's familiar. And as crazy as it sounds, it's a little bit exciting. And so if they're with a guy that has everything lined up, I know this sounds crazy, but it's true. And there's nothing that is making the relationship go up and down. This can create some lack of intimacy sometimes. And when I talk to people and they're in an up and down relationship, hot and cold, a lot of times the one reason they're staying in that relationship, intimacy is really good, because they're making up to break up, to make up to break up. And it leads to, charged interactions, if you will. So we're at the 32-minute mark. Does anyone have any questions about this topic? Any questions about the topic? Why I can't fix my ex? I want to fix my ex. If you do have a story, please send it in to writemac.com, and I could give you my take in a live stream just like this. See if I have another story for you guys. I've seen the ones that see trauma, hot and cold thing. Mostly that leads to dismal ending. Oh, yeah. It definitely leads to a dismal ending. Go for it, Rob. I have a question. I like the way you lead up to it. Shoot. G Money, how are things? Is the girlfriend still strong for you? Can the person who always tries to fix ever be fixed themselves from this sort of characteristic? That's a really good question. Well, first of all, they got to figure out where it's coming from, right? And if it's a similar situation, like, are they always trying to fix someone that's addicted? And usually it's someone, like I said, that had a parent that was the same way, or they had a parent that they were always trying to fix. And so they witnessed it. I do find these types to be long-term failures in multiple relationships. Um, I guess one interesting question to this would be, are they trying to fix the same problem, right? Or are they just open to any problem trying to fix? That would be a really interesting part of it. If there was a study on this of some sort. Are they, because to me, when you get to talking to someone that's had a few serious relationships, people develop a type that they like. And so I would wonder, are they going after the same type of individual to fix? I say this because I've inquired to a couple girls about this exact topic, and they both were 100% denial about the element of them being a fixer. Hmm. Well, they'd have to ask themselves, where in their lives are they a fixer besides the relationship, and where have they been a fixer in their past relationships? And if it comes up again and again and again, then it's part of their character, right? It's not just a special situation. And a lot of times beyond, if you're going to go beyond their childhood and their parents' relationship and their past relationships, I would add that one of the big ones is what is their career or job, and if their career or job is a situation where they're regularly giving people directions and telling them what to do, I would say that a lot of times they probably will take that into the household. I broke up after 12 years knowing that I was changing, and as much as I wanted to change him, I knew I couldn't as well. Change what you can within yourself. I agree, Leandra. Good point, hon. Um, and as I've said before, people do change. They change because of their careers. They change because of consequences in their life. They change because of inheritance. They change because of a car accident. These kinds of things happen. And so people go, oh, people don't change. No, people change when crisis or triumph occurs. Something really great happens or something really bad happens. And it can change them into a new direction with new momentum. And if you don't like the change, it can be bad for the relationship. They essentially have normalized their worth as being one of a fixer and continually have dated multiple low-level, unaccomplished men, hoping that they can turn them around. What's up, Tommy? They essentially have normalized their worth. How do you know? How do you characterize these? Because you know these women, Rob. How do you characterize these women as dating lower level men? Like, how does that work? That you're just coming up with that yourself, Rob, or never been the one to want to fix someone? Me neither. Um, I've always found that there's things I don't like, of course, in a girlfriend, in a long-term relationship, but I can deal with it. I've only had one relationship where her drinking was a specific problem, and I just knew it was going to be an ongoing problem that I couldn't fix. And so looking back, I only really put up with it for probably, I want to say 6 months. I don't remember how long it was, maybe 3 months. It got, and here's what I knew, because this was a girlfriend that I had lived with and I was very close to, and she had a new job, new set of friends, and she was one of those people. This is the thing. There's people out there that when they take up a new hobby, a new thing that they like to do, let's just say ice skating, right? I don't know why I'm coming up with that, but it's random. And they're gonna go into ice skating, and they went on an ice skating trip and they liked it and they had a good time with friends, and all of a sudden they're doing ice skating lessons 5 times a week and they're going to be in the Olympics. There's people out there that when they take something up, they go 125%. They just go all in, fully in. And my ex-girlfriend was like this with a lot of things, and it served her for school and it served her for work. But she started to like drinking, and it actually, I was like, she's one of those, she'll filter out of it where she'll get burnt out on it eventually because she went all in. But I was like, uh, this isn't going to end anytime soon because she enjoys it too much. And it became an everyday, hardcore, lots of drinking habit. And she thought she was being fun and she was being a drunk. But looking back, it was hard. But I never felt like, all right, I'm going to fix you from drinking. I just tried to deal with it. And I'd be like, yeah. And other people would say, like, you should watch your drinking or you should be careful. And I'm so happy and I'm so glad that I didn't stick around and try to fix it, or because, looking back, I think I ran into this individual, I don't know, like a year later, and surprise, surprise, was drunk. And you got to know the type of person you're dealing with. Are they someone that would want to fix their problem? No, I'm not coming up with it myself. Okay. You've known him directly. That girl I told you about before that I was with for a while continually went for a few unemployed added criminal types after the fact. Also, I would out recently, and she did that before me as well. Found out recently. Also, this other girl I knew of did the exact same thing. Same type of guys that have no future upward trajectory. Probably a lot of women that like guys like this, they find them highly attractive. A lot of people will sacrifice a lot in the morals, values department, connection and chemistry department, trust department, if someone is quote unquote hot with 2 T's. If someone is very good with their intimacy, someone will overlook the fact that they're an ex-criminal. And a lot of times we just think women are like this. For example, a guy will be with a woman and she doesn't have a job, and I don't know, she's got all kinds of emotional issues, and you're like, wow, how do you stay with her? And the guy's like, the intimacy is incredible. The same goes for some women. Well, that's been discussed on the live stream before. They end up with some guys like this too. What if someone is hot with 3 T's? Do you remember Chris Tucker? Well, he's still around. Remember Chris Tucker? I thought he was going to be so much more popular. But I remember he had a movie with Charlie Sheen, and he was like, girl, you fat, PHAT, pretty hot and tempting. Trying to stick around to try fix her drinking only adds stress to your life. It does. I mean, well, I think what I think is interesting about this whole topic about fixing, I just thought about this right now, is that if a problem, like you're with someone for 3, 4, 5, 6 years, 7 years, 10 years, and a problem surfaces that wasn't a problem in the first year or the first 6 months. Now that's interesting to me, because it's something that you're thinking to yourself, well, this isn't going to last, or this isn't who they are. And that's when I think you can stick around a bit longer, hoping that the old person will come out to play again. They may find them highly attracted, but all end in blazing disaster. Well, that's on them. I mean, it's like I said, a lot of times in a relationship, you aren't gonna find all the boxes checked, right? And so you're sacrificing something. IG is Coach Mac McCarthy. Coach Mac McCarthy. Thanks for asking. Instagram is Coach Mac McCarthy. Man, I'm sad as hell. 4 months feel like a year. I'm sorry to hear that, bud. I know you had already went through a bad one. Brian, you saying because of quarantine? Yeah, Brian, I told you, send me your story. I'll discuss it that's not going to cure your sadness right now. I understand. This is an interesting time right now, with the COVID and different situations, different places. I do believe in environments really charging situations. And I do believe in something called the collective unconscious. And that's something that Carl Jung was really deep in. And I do believe that if you're in an environment where there's a lot of paranoid or scared or upset or angry people, it will affect you. it will get involved in your energy and your thinking and where you're at, and those things can affect relationships. And so you have to be really cognizant right now of your environments and who you're around, and the negativity that's out there right now, and be in a positive state, because it will affect your relationship 100%. uh she left me for a 48-year-old. Wow. My change has not come about through consequences. It's about self awareness and realization. So, Leandra, let me just ask you something, hon. Uh, if you don't mind, what's your age, and then um, what's the thing that you changed? Like, was there something specific about your health, your diet? Um, there's different areas of our life, like your career, your money. What was it that you changed? Um, After a 2-week breakup with communication, was this breakup easier than your last one? How old is she? And is the 48-year-old a provider or has lots of resources to work? Well, I mean, here's the thing, dude. If you broke up over bad communication and she rebounded or monkey branched into a new situation, there is a possibility. I don't want you to, I shouldn't say this because I'm not sure, but is it possible that she used that as an excuse to break up and she was already having this guy in the crosshairs? Sometimes when that comes up that quick, you just wonder, was this person around anyways? Okay. What was the breakup specifically about? She's 39. Good age. That's my age. Could it be rebound, perhaps? It would be a really interesting poll, but it would be really hard to do. It's just to see from the 1950s and 1960s, 1970s, 1980s, 1990s, 20 O's, and the 20 teens, right? To see each decade how many people are in long-term monogamous relationships. Think about that for a minute. Think about that for a minute. I wonder, do you think it would just go like this? Like from the obviously the 1950s, I didn't live during the 1950s, but it looks like, peaches and cream and, leave it to beaver type shit. Uh, people got married, they had 4 or 5 kids, they had a car, they had a house. And I'm talking about America, I guess, more or less, but 1950s were a different time frame. I'm just wondering, what do you think it would be? The amount of people that have had, let's just say at 40 years old, the amount of people that have been in a relationship over 10 years. Do you think it would be 50%? It'd be an interesting question. We just went to a lake of the Ozarks. Oh, I heard Lake of Ozarks is really cool. Spend $1,000 on activities and car rentals. She said I didn't do things for her for her dates, cook for her from time to time. That's petty, dude. The older guy's a waiter. I don't know how much money he takes, but she makes like $40 an hour. Okay. If you have kids as a woman, money is an issue. Being supported is an issue. You haven't divulged why do you think she broke up with you? It's not because of this guy necessarily. Did she, that's what she said. You didn't do things for her in dates. And how long were you together, man? Older guy's a winner. 4 months. Okay. You're going to get through this then, dude. If you can't make it past 4 months, then the relationship wasn't going to be good. Yeah. 4 to 6 months. it ran its course then. If she's already with someone new, this isn't going to make you feel better, but this is your clarity. You're going to get through this, and you're going to get through it in a shorter period of time than you did with the last one, because this didn't last as long. You know what I mean? When you're in a when you're in a relationship, the first 6 months to a year is still a discovery period. Some people go, "Oh, I didn't even know this about her or him. I didn't even know that they didn't care that I was cooking enough." Or, yeah, because you don't know them that well yet. That's part of it. I mean, mm, people will surprise you with the stuff that they withhold, and they conveniently bring up later on. They're like, they have a real problem with it. I don't know, man. Every breakup since the original breakup that brought me here has gotten easier and easier. Good for you, TW. Yeah, you had I think literally there's some situations that trigger people mentally, and the biggest one is when you have this open loop where you can't figure out uh, why something happened, or you don't like the way the ending was, and you keep trying to reframe that ending, and you're making it a negative. She didn't give it a chance to grow because she didn't want to. That's the reality, dude. If she's with someone else 2 weeks later, she wasn't looking for it. She's been married twice. I feel like I was a rebound. Well, obviously, if she's in a new relationship two weeks later, she's got happy feet. Here's the good news, though, Brian Union. Let's see if we can frame it like this. When you first came to this channel, I don't know, years ago or a year ago, you were getting over a different breakup that was fucking extremely harsh on you, and you've proved to yourself that you could meet someone equal or higher value, that you're highly attracted to, that you were into, and start a new relationship. So you can do that again. The story that I tell yourself, picking yourself up off the ground faster, turned off by the fact, who doesn't want you? All things that you can learn after a breakup. Sure. Yeah, the story that you tell yourself is the big one for me. Picking yourself up off the ground faster. I say get up off the mat. At some point, you get tired of it, right? Turned off by the fact, who doesn't want you? There are likely a few red flags here. A year ago. All things that you learn after a breakup. Yeah. And then sometimes you look back and you're like, damn, that shit was the best thing that ever happened to me. All right, folks, I am getting hungry. Does anyone have any closing questions? 52 minutes pretty quickly there. We got 16 on deck, 6 likes. Thanks, Tommy. It's really good hearing from you. Actually, just had someone send in their story that's stationed in Kuwait. What's up, Mary? Mary Heen? Hien? Really? I was thinking to myself, I was like, I wonder if Tommy mentioned me to someone in this I don't even know if you call it platoon or whatever. Yeah, this that's where he's at. He's in Kuwait. I don't want to give too much information about it, but what are we talking about? Well, we're talking about fixing exes. I'm 52 and it was emotional, spiritual, nothing physical. It's about the energy and the vibration that didn't fit. Interesting. What was the turning point on the realizing that? So what was her true feelings if her telling me she loved me was a lie? You can't frame it that way, dude. That everyone has a different definition of love and how they convey it and what it means to them. Quantum physics is really, really interesting, Leandra. Who do you like from quantum physics? Is it Greg Braden, Joe Dispenza? What's his name? Joe Dispenza is pretty interesting. Are those people you watch, Leandra? You can't fix no one. Mary Hien was camping a few days. It's Hien. Get it right. Hien. I was just at a dinner party yesterday, Mary, and everyone was talking about how cool Vietnam is. 52. Quantum physics. Any closing questions, folks, about your breakup? If not, please send in your story to writemac.com and I'll give you my take in a YouTube video or private video response. My ex is going to Vietnam. Yeah, I mean, everyone that goes there speaks glowingly about it. They really like it. Say the food's excellent. Brian, take it easy, bud. I hope you feel better, man. Keep going to the gym, keep being you, and you're gonna get through this fucking thing, dude. You know what I mean? Seriously, Brian. You had it bad a year ago, and you have it bad again, and you're gonna get through it just fine. You're gonna be better off for it, dude. All right. And don't take it personal. It's a 4-month relationship. She told you who she is and what she's about. And it's not, if it didn't end now, it's gonna end later on. So you got through the last one, hit your gym up, do your thing, be you, literally be you, right? I've heard only good things about Vietnam vacations. I want to go. It's all good, Brian. You're good people, bud. And you're getting better and better, right? You improved from your last breakup. People only change when something happens in their life. It's the absolute truth. Crisis is an opportunity. That's actually a Japanese translation of some word in Japan, of some word in Japanese. Tommy, take it easy. Good to hear from you, bud. All right, folks, it is curtains.